into the rankings at the 25 spot, but they are walking an absolute tightrope right now in the SEC. Missouri's strength continues to be their physical offensive line play and explosive skill position depth. But however, playing in the SEC means your schedule offers zero room to breathe. So if Missouri drops an early swing game, they run the risk of falling out of the rankings before October even hits. Season prediction right now, they stay competitive, hold down a solid bowl game, but their depth in the second half of SEC play keeps them right on the outside of the 12-team playoff bubble. I'm going to be predicting Missouri having an 8-4 season this year. Not bad, not fantastic, but enough to keep them somewhat relevant in the SEC. I would say they probably finish the year off in the top 25, possibly even right at 25. Their second half schedule of conference play this year is just brutal. But I do believe in Drinkwitz. I think he's turning that program around, but you're also playing in the SEC, and there's 12 other teams that need to be making these playoff spots. So that's my prediction for the Missouri Tigers there at number 25. Number 24, the Louisville Cardinals, or as some people like to say, Louisville. I say Louisville. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Well, because I know some people from Louisville say it a certain way, and if some people don't say it right, you get corrected right away. But speaking of the Cardinals, Jeff Brom has continued to execute masterclass roster construction out of the portal. Paired with star running back Isaac Brown, who we broke down on our last episode, this offense possesses top 15 scoring power, easily. And their season comes down to defensive consistency against physical front sevens. So if the Cardinals can hold up in the trenches against the top tiers of the ACC, which is your like Miami, is Clemson going to be back as a top tier? But I think as of right now, it's Miami. I guess you have to put SMU in there because of their talent, and I'm pretty sure that's all I have right now. So Louisville has a good shot to compete for an ACC title this year. Their offensive production, though, is going to be the one that carries them up in the rankings. My prediction is that Louisville outperforms this 24 ranking. They stay right in the ACC title game hunt until late November and finishes inside the top 18 with a final record of 9-3. Now, like I said, I think Louisville has a great shot to be a dark horse in the ACC this year, to go to the title game, even win the ACC. Depending on how Miami does, depending on how SMU does. What if Clemson comes back? There's just a lot of cards that have to play for them, but I think right now with how explosive that offense is under Jeff Brown this year and that outstanding running back in Isaac Brown, definitely could see Louisville being close to that 10-win season this year. And if that's the case, and if they do in the ACC, they're right there in the playoffs. So 9-3, my final record for Louisville at the end of 2026. Not bad. Honestly, I mean, that's a great season for Louisville. Anyways, moving on. Number 23, the Houston Cougars. You know, we called Houston a playoff dark horse Monday, and AP voters are clearly taking notice of what Willie Fritz is building. Connor Wigman is taking over under center. Houston is going to be transitioning from an under-the-radar turnaround story into a legitimate Big 12 contender. Fritz controls the clock. He plays fundamentally sound defense and doesn't beat himself with penalties. So in a chaotic Big 12 race, that stability is golden for the Cougars right now. And Houston lives up to the dark horse hype. I believe they really do contend for a spot in the Big 12 championship game along with Texas Tech. I don't see any other team right now. Maybe Utah, maybe BYU, depending on how their season goes. But right now, I think I'm going to pencil in Texas Tech in the title game. But I really could see Houston contending for a spot in that championship game, and they push toward a top 15 finish this year. And my prediction for the Houston Cougars is going to be ending 2026 with a 10-2 record. And if they can get to that conference game with that record and win the conference title, you have the Houston Cougars being that dark horse I mentioned on Monday and being in the playoff conversation. Now moving on to Big Ten country, number 22, the Iowa Hawkeyes. Oh boy, Death, Texas, and Iowa sitting right around 20 in the preseason poll. You know the brand, always an elite defense, world-class special teams, and a brutal running game that wears you down over all four quarters. But the big question mark is, as always, is whether the passing game can generate explosive 20-plus yard plays when trailing in the second half against other Big Ten heavyweights like Ohio State or Oregon. I think Iowa will maintain their standard floor. They're going to beat the teams they should beat, leaning on their defense, but with that lack of downfield passing to beat top 10 teams on their schedule, I have them falling outside of the top 25 at the end of the season at an 8-4 record. Iowa is just known for defense right now. I mean, I couldn't remember. I think it was 2-3 years ago. Iowa was only averaging 10 points a game. Granted, they were winning, but most of that came from the defense and their special teams. Is this the year that the Hawkeyes can turn around that offensive game finally? I don't know. We'll see. But as of right now, I'm predicting them to have an 8-4 season. Moving back to the Big 12, at number 21, we have the Utah Utes. You know, they're built on pure toughness. Utah enters 2026 with a heavily experienced roster and one of the most imposing defensive fronts in the Big 12. They play a brand of football that just frustrates high-tempo spread offenses by controlling the line of scrimmage and shortening possessions. If their offense stays healthy and efficient on 3rd and short, Utah is built for an absolute deep run. I think Utah remains an absolute nightmare to play in Salt Lake City. I think they stay firmly ranked in the top 20 all season long. I just think there are some games that they will lose. That doesn't give them a shot to get to the playoff. I have them finishing at 9-3. They're not going to make the title game this year, but it's still a great season, 9-3. First year without Kyle Whittingham. I think they do just fine. I think their defense is going to be kind of like Iowa, kind of carries them in the second half of the season. But we'll see what happens. I have them at 9-3. And number 20, going to SEC land, we are rounding out tonight's crew with the Tennessee Volunteers. Josh Heupel's offense operates with maximum tempo, putting just constant pressure on an opposing secondary. The Volunteers have elite skill talent to hang 40 points on almost anybody on their schedule. However, though, their ultimate ceiling relies on secondary play and pass rush consistency when facing physical SEC front sevens. So if the defense can create extra possessions, Tennessee's offense will win them plenty of track meets. Tennessee will use their high-octane offense to secure big home victories. They're going to finish inside the top 15. I have Tennessee finishing at 9-3 this year. Still good for the SEC. If they can come up with maybe just one loss, we could see them in the college football playoff. I do like Josh Heupel. I do like their offense. Their defense has been suspect. They really haven't been able to get pressure on the ball with their defensive front. And just like I mentioned, you know, when you're going up against big bullies in the trenches and you don't have guys who can get to the quarterback and, you know, your defense is out there for 12, 13, 14 plays at a time, you're going to wear your own defense out. Your offense is always going to be playing catch up. Doesn't matter how many points you score. If your defense cannot stop the ball, your offense can only do so much. So 9-3 to round out the 2026 season for the Tennessee Volunteers. But there you have it, guys. I mean, that's my breakdown and season predictions for number 25 through 20 with Missouri, Louisville, Houston, Iowa, Utah, and Tennessee. I just want to know your guys' thoughts. Which of these 6 teams do you think drops out of the top 25 first? Do we see Iowa? Do we see Utah? Missouri. I honestly say it's probably going to be Iowa just because that's kind of how it is. But also, who has the best shot at crashing the top 12? Let me know your guys' thought, but hey, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts so you don't miss a single part of this poll breakdown. This is going to be rapid fire this week and next week. We are 1 week away from Saturday. So with that being said, I may be posting 1 or 2 more extra episodes over this week and next week just so I can get you guys my full top 25 season prediction breakdown before the season starts. Set your reminders for Monday morning because I will be climbing up the ladder and tackling teams 19 through 15, which features SMU, Penn State, Washington, Michigan as Kyle Whittingham takes over with Penn State. They've got Matt Campbell. And then also USC. So lots of Big Ten action here with 19 through 15. But I appreciate you guys starting your Thursday morning drive with me. Stay locked to the tape. Stay disciplined. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate it.